So let's start with a modern dilemma, one I think a lot of people building software today are probably facing.
Mhm.
You're trying to leverage, a whole fleet of these specialized AI tools. You might have one agent that's great for refactoring, another for writing tests.
And maybe a third just for documentation.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
the second you try to manage all of them at once, you just run into, well, chaos. Your attention gets completely fractured.
Right. You're jumping between terminals, browser tabs, different context windows, and suddenly you're the bottleneck, not the AI.
So today we're doing a deep dive into a solution that is designed specifically for this high-velocity multi-AI problem. It's called Maestro, Agent Orchestration Command Center.
Mhm.
And our source material here is a really detailed GitHub repository. It presents Maestro not just as a tool, but as a full-on cross-platform desktop environment. It's built for, and I'm quoting here, hackers and power users.
The keyboard first crowd.
The people who live and breathe the keyboard. And our mission today is to unpack how this tool plans to focus that fractured attention into focused intent.
That's a great phrase.
It is. And the big promise, the central idea, is that it lets you manage a whole fleet of AI agents and your projects all in parallel.
And what's so fascinating to me right off the bat is that this is a complete structural overhaul. It's not just some fancy chat wrapper where you paste in an API key.
Right.
No, this is engineered from the ground up for speed, efficiency, and maybe most importantly for scale. It's really aimed at that professional developer who's juggling multiple complex projects at the same time.
And what about the agents it supports?
Well, looking at the list, you can see a very clear focus on code manipulation. It's designed to integrate with established tools like Claude Code, OpenAI Codex, and OpenCode.
The big names.
The big ones for code, yeah. And the sources are really clear that they plan to expand fast, based on user demand, to include more specialized tools.
Mhm.
They mention Aider, Gemini CLI, Qwen 3 Coder.
So the strategy isn't about one giant monolithic AI.
Not at all. The strategy is that the future of powerful development is about orchestrating lots of highly specialized AIs.
Okay, let's unpack that. If the goal is this high-velocity parallel development, how does Maestro's architecture actually keep things from descending into total chaos when you have unlimited agents and terminals running?
And that leads us straight to, I think, its most powerful feature. And it's actually a pretty traditional one they've co-opted.
The aha moment for me was this radical focus on isolation using Git Worktrees. Now, for anyone listening who maybe isn't deep in Git mechanics, what exactly is a worktree?
A worktree is essentially a second working directory that's tied to a separate branch, but in the same repository.
So the code base is shared,
The code is shared, but the work environment itself is completely isolated.
and Maestro applies this to the AI workflow.
Brilliantly, yeah. You can create these subagents directly from the branch menu. And that agent then operates entirely within its own isolated directory, its own branch.
Which is critical, I'm guessing?
It's absolutely critical because it lets you, the developer, keep working interactively on your main branch while your AI sub-agent is off processing some completely independent, maybe even disruptive, task.
Well, I have to ask, if speed is the goal, why add the complexity of work trees? Why not just use, say, temporary feature branches? What's the real strategic benefit?
It's security and auditability. When that AI agent finishes its task, the change is contained entirely within that isolated branch. It's almost like the AI is an external contributor submitting a pull request.
Ah, a PR that you, the human, can then review.
Exactly. You review it, you test it, you audit it with one click. It guarantees a clean contribution. It completely changes the audit trail on the security of AI-generated code. You're treating the AI's output as a trusted but still external contribution. No accidental corruption of your main branch.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so moving from parallel agents to parallel tasks, that brings us to the auto run and playbooks feature. This feels like the part that pushes Maestro beyond just interactive chat.
Oh, absolutely. This is where it gets into long-running automation. It's a file system-based task runner. You just write out a series of steps in a markdown checklist.
Like a to-do list.
Exactly like a to-do list. And the system batch processes that list sequentially through the AI agent. This creates what they call playbooks for repeatable workflows. You can even run them in loops and track the progress.
The source material mentions something that stood out to me. A current record of nearly 24 hours of continuous runtime. Now that sounds incredibly powerful, but I have to admit, it also sounds like a huge financial risk. What's to stop an agent getting into an infinite loop?
That's a very fair question. The main guardrail here is all about context management. The docs are clear.
Oh.
Each task inside that playbook gets its own completely clean AI session.
Its own conversation context.
Yes, which prevents what they call context bleed.
And context bleed is when?
It's a disaster on big projects.
Yeah.
It's when the AI starts mixing up requirements from task A, let's say refactoring a payment handler,
What?
with the requirements for task B, which is updating user authentication. By isolating the context for every single task, you dramatically minimize the risk of costly or, conflicting output, especially during those long unattended runs. Plus, as we'll get into, the cost tracking is built right in, so you have real-time visibility.
That structural isolation seems key. But parallel work, especially across different work trees, that requires some sophisticated coordination. And that's where group chat comes in, right? It sounds like the system becomes a project manager.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
Maestro has this system where a moderator AI orchestrates discussions among multiple agents. You could, for example, task one agent with reviewing your back-end architecture and another with evaluating a new front-end framework.
And the moderator handles the conversation.
It routes your questions to the right agents, it manages the conflicts or disagreements that come up, and then it synthesizes the responses back to you. It's like you're pitting your AIs against each other to force a better, more well-reasoned architectural decision.
I love that idea. Okay, but if I have all this happening, parallel work trees, unattended sessions running for hours, I need to monitor it, and I can't be chained to my desk.
And that's where the accessibility features are really smart. Maestro has a built-in web server with a simple QR code set up for mobile remote control.
So I can check in from my phone.
You can monitor and control everything from your phone. And it supports remote tunneling through Cloudflare, so you can access it from literally anywhere. It keeps you in the loop without keeping you tethered.
And for the real power users, the ones who need to plug this into their existing infrastructure, there's a full command line interface.
Yes, the Maestro CLI. It allows for what's called headless operation. It can run without the graphical desktop app, which means you can script runs from cron jobs, or, and this is crucial, integrate it directly into your CI/CD pipelines.
So if I'm scripting a CI/CD run, the source material specifically mentions JSON output. Why is that detail important? Why not just regular text?
That's a great technical point. JSON, or JSON lines, is structured data. It's a stream of individual JSON objects. So unlike plain text, it's optimized for other computer systems to read and process without any ambiguity.
Ah, so it makes the automation cleaner.
Infinitely cleaner and more reliable. If you're piping the output from an AI agent directly into another script or a database, structured JSON is what you want. It proves Maestro isn't just a UI, it's a core automation platform.
So we have the parallel firepower and the integration. How does the interface itself actually help a developer achieve that coveted flow state without getting totally overwhelmed?
That really brings us to the core design philosophy, which is keyboard-first design. The whole app is built to reduce friction, to keep your hands on the keyboard. It's full of customizable shortcuts and even mastery tracking, which kind of rewards you for learning the efficient pathways.
And the main shortcut is?
The main one is the universal CMD+K Quick Actions palette. It gives you instant search and access to any function or agent session. But the feature that really changes the workflow is what they call dual mode sessions.
Dual mode solves such a common developer headache.
It's brilliant. Each agent session has two tabs, an AI terminal and a command terminal. And you can switch between them instantly with CMD+J.
So that mental context switch from writing a prompt to running a quick shell command.
It's gone. It's virtually eliminated.
And speaking of context, this is where it gets really interesting on the historical side of things. Session discovery.
This is huge. We all have years of conversation history with various AIs. Maestro can automatically discover and import your existing sessions from all the supported providers.
Even conversations from before you installed Maestro.
Even from before. You don't have to abandon all that previous knowledge just because you're upgrading to a more powerful tool.
That's a killer feature.
And for developers, that focus extends right into the repository. The Git integration is comprehensive. We're talking automatic repo detection, branch display, a built-in diff viewer, commit logs, everything you need right there in the app.
The goal being to keep you in that single environment.
Exactly. Avoid the cognitive load of jumping between your terminal, your IDE, and the Maestro app.
And while we're on flow state, you mentioned some smaller quality of life details.
Yes, small but crucial. My favorite is probably draft autosave. It's so simple, but it's essential. Drafts are automatically saved per session. You never lose that long, perfectly crafted prompt because the power flickered. It just removes a layer of anxiety.
That is a big one. And what about managing the output? AIs can be verbose.
Very verbose. So there's powerful output filtering. You can search and filter the AI's output with exclude modes, reject support, you name it. If you only want to see code blocks, for example, you can do that with a click.
And linking back to that cost risk we talked about, there has to be accountability.
And there is. It's baked in with cost tracking. You get real-time token usage and cost data, both per session and globally. It's an absolute necessity if you're running unsupervised agents. You have to be able to see that financial meter running.
So for those long, unattended runs, how do you know when a task is actually done?
Instead of you checking your screen constantly, Maestro uses speakable notifications.
Audio alerts.
Audio alerts with text-to-speech announcements. It's a proactive way to signal completion without demanding your visual attention.
And finally, there's a bit of fun in here, a gamification aspect.
Right. The achievement system.
Yeah.
It gamifies high-velocity use by tracking things like your cumulative auto runtime. Users can level up through 11 conductor-themed ranks, from apprentice all the way up to Titan of the Baton.
Titan of the baton, I like that.
It's a clever way to encourage you to really master the tool set.
So if we connect all this to the bigger picture, sophisticated tools need sophisticated tracking. And Maestro integrates two pretty powerful visualization features here.
It does. The first is the usage dashboard. And this provides really comprehensive analytics for tracking your AI usage patterns across all your sessions. This isn't just a billing dashboard. It's a strategic tool.
What kind of data can you see?
You can view aggregated stats across different time ranges, day, week, month, all time. You can actually compare agent performance head-to-head.
So see if Claude Code is more cost-effective than OpenAI Codex for a certain type of task.
Exactly that. And you can analyze the split between your manual work versus the automated auto-run activity, which lets you see where you should probably automate more.
And this is all easy to access.
Quick shortcut, yeah. Opt plus CMD plus U on a Mac. And it includes the essentials like CSV export and colorblind-friendly palettes. It really treats your AI usage like a serious project that needs data-driven management.
The second feature seems more focused on knowledge organization. It's called the document graph. Let's say I'm dropped into a huge project with hundreds of markdown files. How does this help me?
It saves you time by mapping the knowledge visually. The document graph creates a visual knowledge graph of all your markdown docs.
How does it do that?
It automatically discovers all the internal links, both the standard markdown links and the wiki-link style that a lot of developers use. It then visualizes those relationships with interactive nodes and edges.
So instead of a file list, you see a map.
You see a map of the connections. You understand immediately which documents reference others. It makes the whole knowledge base of a complex project navigable.
And you can change how you view that map.
Absolutely. You can switch between force-directed layouts, which kind of cluster related docs together, and hierarchical layouts for a more top-down view.
Oh.
It's designed to stop you from getting lost in the file system.
Okay, so to summarize, we've seen how Maestro can transform a chaotic, multi-agent workflow into something more like an orchestrated command center. It really emphasizes that genuine parallelism with things like Git Worktrees and auto-run playbooks. It maintains control through that keyboard-first design, and it ensures accountability with cost tracking and the analytics dashboard.
Right.
And for anyone looking to get started, the requirements are pretty straightforward, right? You need at least one supported agent, Claude Code, OpenAI Codex, or OpenCode installed and authenticated.
And you need Git, of course, if you want to use those powerful worktree features. You know, what's really fascinating here to me is this blending of traditional battle-tested developer tools like Git Worktrees and a solid CLI with this next-generation AI orchestration.
It's an interesting mix.
It suggests a really powerful trend that the most effective AI systems of the near future won't be these single monolithic AIs trying to do everything. Will be fleets of highly specialized isolated agents that are managed efficiently by a sophisticated interface like this. It's all about maximizing clean context and getting reliable execution.
So a final thought for our listeners to take away.
Well, given this focus on clean context and repeatable workflows, think about the core concept behind auto-run playbooks. Using a simple checklist to manage long-running, isolated sessions. How could you apply that to your own complex human workflows? Could you break down a massive project for your team into tiny, isolated tasks to prevent that human version of context bleed? That's a deep dive for another time.